Live. Here we go. We are live. Welcome everyone to our awesome little mastermind session here, general session here on Monday, the 21st of February. John Lavenia here with you. And let's see here. We got a few people tuning in. We got a few more that'll be tuning in momentarily. Wow. I had a great weekend. I hope you guys did as well. I took my daughter to the Florida State Fair, and it was probably the biggest state fair I've ever seen. Conveniently located right here in Tampa Bay. So I got to experience that. Arizona State Fairs are pretty cool too, but this one was immense, huge. Anyway, happy President's Day here in the United States for everyone. I just was reminded that it's President's Day today, as the garbage men have not come yet. So I'm wondering, hopefully they'll come. That or they'll come tomorrow. This is important stuff, right? These are the problems of life. But good to see you all. Today we have a couple good things on our calendar, one of which we're doing right now, which is our general session. The other one is going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern US time tonight. We're having our book study group. We're going to knock out 2 more chapters of The 8 Pillars of Prosperity by James Allen. Tremendous book. I'll send out a reminder email to everyone who's on the book study group list, which, by the way, is open to the public. Well, let me rephrase that. Your public, right? Your friends, people who are interested in personal development, philosophy, and success psychology. Those are the kind of books that we read. And if they'd like to participate, like live and in person, right here on Zoom, they can do that. You can send them to jlsuccessmastermind.com/books, and they will get access to that, get on the list. Of course, all of this is brought to you by the paying members of the John Lavenia Success Mastermind, jlsuccessmastermind.com. So here's what's coming up for me today. Now that we're done with housekeeping, good to see a few more people tuning in. Here is what's coming up for me today, and I want to see if this resonates with you. This is a topic that I don't bring up to too many people because I don't think most people can handle it, because it definitely points a finger back at the person who's having these considerations. But one of the things that I'm involved with to a degree, to a pretty large degree, is helping people do something about their situation. So let's say you've got let me digress for a minute. Steve Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We've all read that book. Hopefully you have. We have certainly covered it in our mastermind group. But in that book, he talks about your circle of influence and your circle of concern. If anybody's not familiar with this, right, what Covey purports is that you've got a circle of influence. These are things that you can do something about. These are things where you can have an effect. These are things in your purview of effectiveness. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. All right. And then outside of that is your circle of concern, which typically is larger than your circle of influence. These are things that you have thoughts about, you have considerations about, but you don't have a direct effect on. In other words, they're not things that effective people would give their time and attention to because they are not something within your circle of influence. They're in other people's circle of influence, okay, just not yours. So since you can't be all things to all people, it would be a good idea for you to work within your circle of influence to have an effect and to expand that circle of influence out into your circle of concern, to take on more things, more responsibilities, to be effective in more and new ways. But here's what else he said, is that if we squander our energy in our circle of concern, we're actually taking away from our circle of influence. That contracts. So rather than expanding our circle, we're contracting our circle. Now, back to the point that I wanted to make for you all here today. With that visual in mind, with that consideration in mind, I've seen a lot of people spending a lot of time in their circle of concern. Circle of concern. Not in their circle of influence, their circle of concern. And yes, it's easy to be critical and to gripe about things out there. It's easy to do. You don't need an education for that. You don't need to read self-help books. You don't need to show up at these meetings. You don't have to do anything. Just sit there and gripe. And there are some people who are professional gripers. But what are they getting done? Well, if you agree with Covey's assertion, then they're shrinking their circle of influence. So here's the question: what part of these things that concern us can we do something about? What part of this can I be responsible for? What effect can I have? Where does this circle of concern leak into my circle of influence so I can attack, right? Have an effect. And do what? Increase my circle of influence and my own esteem, self-esteem. I believe that production is the basis of morale. Produce something and feel better about yourself. Does this make sense? I mean, it seems pretty simple to me. Here's the alternative. Sit there and gripe, do nothing, get a lot of agreement, right? There's a lot of people, a lot of gripers. That's fine. Do nothing, okay? Be a victim and contract. We have all studied, some of the basic philosophies of life, and some of them are that, nothing rests, right? Energy is, okay, and it's always moving from this form into that form. There's the perpetual transmutation of radiant energy. I'm not going to get into natural law right now, but there's nothing resting. Everything's moving. Everything's dynamic, right? Except energy itself, that's a static, okay, but then there's everything else here in the physical universe is moving down to the atomic, subatomic level. So therefore, you're either creating or disintegrating. There is no rest. Create or disintegrate. I think I hear a garbage truck. Oh, happy day. Happy day. So sitting there waiting for someone else to be responsible, or for some other circumstance, or for something better that you have no control of, well, that you're contracting. And if production is the basis of morale, you're not producing, therefore feeling lower and lower, right? Cowed under. Doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't have to be that way. So I get to confront a lot of people who are doing something. And you know what? The transformation that I see when somebody picks themselves up by their bootstraps and says, you know what, I may not have control of all this, but here's something I can do. And they pick themselves up, right? Right there, they're picking themselves up. I mean, the punchline is right there in the words. They're up. They're producing something. And they feel better about themselves, not moping around hoping somebody else does something. Now, I can relate this to a variety of different, fields of concern. Business, relationships, politics, community stuff, social issues, right? There's lots of things we can relate this to. And if we're not doing something within our circle of influence as it relates to each of whatever's in your circle of concern, then we're choosing to be the victim. We're contracting. Let me bridge this over now with another concept that I was reminded of several times, and that is that you cannot create and destroy at the same time. Or let me say this, you can't have your attention on creation and destruction at the same time. I'll give you an example from the corporate world. In business, there are departments, and these departments are over here are doing creative work, and these departments over here are doing destructive work. Okay. So for example, creative work could be product design. Destructive work could be legal. Okay. So these people are creating, these people are fighting, we'll say. Maybe destruction isn't the exact right thing. Okay. But there's both actions going on, but those departments don't mix. They don't mix. Right. If one of the creative people, gets into the elevator and sees, one of the lawyers or something, they go, oh, hi, Bob, what department are you from? Oh, yeah, great. So obviously I'm talking about like, here would be like a big corporate structure, but there you've got a bigger sample size, okay, as opposed to you're running a home business, you're a solopreneur or something. Well, great, then you're wearing both hats. Hopefully you're not engaged in embattled in legal stuff if you're a solopreneur, okay? But still, you can't wear both hats at the same time, right? Same time. So you got to choose, because you only have so much attention in present time. And where is that going? If you're dispersed, let's say you're trying to create while at the same time wearing the hat of the fighter. Well, you're deluded. I like full strength. I don't like to dilute my efforts. Full strength, In fact, I'll take more strength. I mean, look, if all of us here are seeking to be, do, and have more of what we want in our lives, well, then what we're actually asking for is to be more powerful, more able, more causative, more effective. So why dilute the little bit that we've cultivated so far? Here, Linda, here is your bottle of effectiveness. And no, you don't have to use full strength on every single job. Okay. You can dilute some, squirt over there. But now for the important stuff, full strength, right? Oh, yeah, that's good. And then it had an effect. It was effective. Oh, well, you know what? I wonder what we can do if we redoubled. Oh, wow, even stronger. Getting dangerous now. Okay. So why dilute when we can be laser focused? You know, one of the first sales teams that I ran, we had a motto. We had thousands of members. This was in a direct selling program, and focus, action, results was like the team motto. Focus, action, results. Focus. All right. So not allowing us to be impinged upon by, sideways, ankle biting, this and that, distractions. Okay. So get focused. Don't multitask. Which brings us to action. Action. That's not the consideration of action. That is the actuality of action. That is the demonstration of action. That is not overthinking things to the point where you never quite act. Okay. Action. Catherine experienced this just this week, right? I had an experience with Catherine, and it was fast. It was like, you know what, do this. She did it, done, results, production, right? So action does it. So focus, action, results. Okay, why do we include that? Isn't that automatic? Yeah, it's kind of automatic. If you're focused and you're taking action, you're going to get a result. But the whole idea of like that upward spiral, being, doing, and having more, that whole idea of that, that is made possible by now observing, here's the result, pleasing or not, right? It doesn't mean every single result was the most optimal thing ever in the universe, okay? But it's a result. And it's a lot better than sitting around, bemoaning, whatever's in your circle of concern. And so now we can build on that. We can optimize. We can steer the car because it's moving. You can't optimize a parked car. It's as parked as it's ever going to be. Focus, action, results. Focus on what now? Because we just got the result. Okay, well, let's focus on how to get a better result, or how to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Here's my point. If what you're doing now isn't bearing fruit, well, shit, do anything but that. Right? I mean, it's terribly simple. I was listening, eavesdropping a little bit. My wife was in her office and talking to one of her clients about someone that we know who has truly made a spectacle of themselves in the past few years. And that is Grant Cardone. And here's a guy who at 50 was pretty much nowhere in his, he had a career and whatever, but he was starting over, picking up pieces and all that. Now he is in his early 60s and crushing it, right? And something that he said was best known beats best. And so it brought me back to focus, action, results. Okay. Best known beats best. So he's not the best, but best known beats best. Okay, great. So what did this guy do? He did something within his circle of influence. He's got lots of things he's concerned about, which now he can donate tremendous amounts of money to other people. It's their circle of influence. You guys go handle this stuff, right? Here, have some money, like millions of dollars. Go have some money, right? But he got to that place by working within a circle of influence and taking action, which may not have been the best action in the world. The results may have not been the best in the world, but it was so plentiful, so prolific that he grew an empire and he became among the best known in his space with what he does. Frankly, I'm not even exactly sure what he does at this point. But regardless of what you think of that brand and that content, okay, everywhere you look, there it is. So sales coaching and stuff like that. But the idea that you could produce something, take this right home now to yourself, that you could produce something, not perfectly, but you can get something done within your circle of influence, and that is production, which raises your self-esteem, your morale. Look, I just produced something, that's great. And then that circle of influence would expand. That's real, guys. And when does that happen? Now, but not if we're just sitting around griping about what other people did or didn't do, or what should happen or shouldn't happen in Washington or Ottawa or whatever. Look, something can be done about it. Yes, right here. There's some piece of this, if it's within your circle of concern, find what piece of that fits into your circle of influence that you could do something about. I got, I have people all the time who ask me for counsel as it relates to business stuff. Because I'm further down the road. I haven't arrived there or anything, but I'm further down the road than most people who are, let's say, trying their hand at entrepreneurship. And so I know a few things. And so to that end, I counsel people. But you know what? It comes back to again and again and again, for me, regardless of the methods that they're looking to apply, or regardless of what field they're in or looking to get in, it comes down to who's doing it. Again and again and again, and perhaps just because I've observed and had the opportunity and the privilege to work with so many thousands of entrepreneurs, that I could see the line of demarcation between those who succeed in whatever method versus the masses who don't. It comes down to who they are. It's be, do, and have in that order. Always, always, always. Right? So regardless of what methods we're looking to apply, well, let me back up for a second. Hopefully we know what we want to have, right? That's the end result, the observable phenomena of having done the work. Okay, so there's the goal. Great. So then what methods to get there? Great question. Important question, but not nearly as important as who's doing it. So here are, not to belabor something that we've gone through again and again, but this is it, guys. This is the real crux of it. And we're going to read more about this tonight, or review what we have read about it tonight with James Allen. But here is the differentiating factor between the, plumber A and plumber B, just to take something, very ostensibly, simple. Not that plumbing is necessarily always simple, but we all know what a plumber is, right? And plumber A gets rich and plumber B is sucking wind. Same methods, pipes, moving liquids from one place to another. That's called plumbing. Yep. That's it. Who's doing it? And so the plumber who says, holy crap, like I am gonna like plumb this world, man. Get ready. Here comes the water. Here out goes the poop. I mean, we're gonna plumb this place, right? In fact, I'm gonna let everybody know. Here comes the best plumbing. Call Bob's Plumbing. Best known, right? And they promote and they're enthusiastic and they are sold themselves. And now everybody else needs to be sold. Versus, oh, I hope I can make this plumb. Maybe I can break even. I actually talked to somebody today who I asked them what their goals were as it relates to this this program that they were involving themselves in. And they said, well, I'd like to get my money back. Their first goal is to break even. All right. Let's expand our vision a little bit. All right. So let's say you got your money back. Well, now what? There's this thing called profit, and it's okay. You don't need to apologize for that. I know it's very, socialism is very fashionable right now, and everybody's supposed to be equally broke or something. But let's say that you actually do your work. To what end? So they got to thinking a little bit. Well, here's what I would really like. Sometimes you got to ask people to go like 5-6 levels deep into this, right? Well, why do you want that? Well, then I'd be able to do that. Well, why do you want to do that? Well, then I'd be able to do that. right? So you want to make money. Okay, great. Why? Why do you want money? Sounds like a silly question. All right. Well, I mean, look, guys, it's actually easier to get what you really want, even if it's like 10 times the amount of what you think you can accomplish. If you've got real reasons for this, here's 50,000, here's 5,000. Go for the 50. Go for the 50 if that's what you really want. And you'll cross 5 to get to 50. I mean, it's not like you're neglecting the number 5. He's in there too. Okay. But that's just math. So what do you really want? Because when you're on a mission, when you're creating, when you're full strength, not diluting your strength, well, now we can make a spectacle of ourselves. Now we can do something. And look, I'm saying all this not as the guy who's mastered it all. I've diluted myself so many times. Oh my God. This is the voice of experience here. Here's what not to do. That sounds like, wow, I didn't expect to hear that from a mentor. Yeah. Right. I'm not on the sidelines telling you, here's how to do it perfectly or something. I'm walking the path. And I've blundered. Which is the value of it all. I mean, this right here, look, I've got mentors and they've blundered as well. Thank goodness. If I was trying to take instruction from somebody who's floating and levitating and stuff. I mean, that's read the Bible and stuff. I mean, you can work that into your life, right? But I'm not there, right? Nor are my mentors. So in this case, I guess to bring this in for a landing and to give everybody else a chance to talk, what I'm asking you to do is the same thing I'm asking myself to do: is stop deluding yourself. Find ways to focus, take immediate action, and get a result. And that production, you're going to feel good about yourself. And then, the problems of the world are still there. I got it, man. I got it. And yes, it's real. I'm not in some new age cloud of denial or something. It's real problems. But what can you do about it? What part of it can you be responsible for? Even if it's within your own little circle of influence with your house, your family, the groups that you're involved in, that's real. That's real too. That's just as real as all the other stuff, which you can't do anything about right now. So let's work with what is, not with what should be. Let's work with what is and expand. Expansion, right? This is where I'm at today. Because you know what? This day is going to end. A few hours from now, this day is going to end. And I'm going to have produced something, maybe something great, maybe very little, maybe piss away my time. Probably not, especially after hearing this conversation, which I needed to hear. Probably not piss away my time, Janet. Probably not. Oh my goodness, what am I talking about? I love you guys. Please be a person of action. Because whether you know it or not, that does affect your circle of concern. Because there's other people looking and you don't even know. Grant, when he was putting out Periscope videos, didn't know who was watching. But there he was. I think I'm going to have to embrace TikTok. I don't know. I won't load that shit onto my phone, but it seems like it's everywhere now. So I think I'm going to have to do some TikTok. My publicist is saying, do TikTok, do TikTok, do TikTok. I'm like, oh, no. Maybe I'll get a different iPhone just for that. I jumped on Community. You guys know what Community is? I'm sorry, not Community. Sorry, Clubhouse. Clubhouse. You guys know what Clubhouse is? It's where you can get on and hear people talk all day, every day, nonstop, constant. It's like the never-ending podcasts, hundreds, thousands of them, right? And you can participate and you can ask questions and stuff. I got on, there it is, Clubhouse. I'm looking at it on my phone. And I just, like the entire day is gone like that. So I don't know how many of you are onto that. So I'm scared of Clubhouse just because, and it's live. There's no recording. It's all live. And how often can you go live? Every day, right? Imagine me just being here with you guys all day. You can get nothing done. Neither would I. So I'm scared of Clubhouse. Anyway, I'll figure it out. You guys, thank you for listening to me. Giovanna says, damn, I just missed the topic because my poor dog was stirring up. Giovanna, take care of that doggy. I'll talk with you as soon as we're done here. Who's got some thoughts, please? what is it that you can do today? Linda, please come on out. I think I struck a nerve with you. Full strength, Linda, please.
Well, no, I mean, it's just like, this past weekend has just been, the world news and all that's happening. I mean, I'm guilty of not focusing as much as I should have on things I need to focus on. But yeah, I mean, focus sprints are huge. You get so much done. It's like, yeah, and the more you take action, you definitely, it's all the law of vibration. I mean, you're just gonna keep raising that vibration, and you gotta, to be successful, I feel like you have to be up on that high vibration. If you're down here, like, oh, this is really sucks, and this is really terrible, what's going on? I mean, you're not gonna get things done. You're not gonna
Right.
get it. So
right. When I feel
I
good,
mean, guilty
do
this
good.
weekend, definitely. It's just been so disheartening what's happening, and it's kind of hard to get away from. But,
Okay.
at the same time, I was very productive. I mean, I had a 2-day seminar, which ate up 16 hours of my weekend, which was huge. But, but yeah,
Can
you
you tell us
gotta,
something you learned from the seminar?
so, well, it was about sales. So just, there was, there was a 6-step framework that, was really good. It's through Procter & Gallagher. So it's Bob's sales presentation, that his teachings actually. So yeah, it's just be more of yourself, really. It was kind of good. She gave us some strategies of how to, just keep asking questions and bring it back around. When somebody is, what's the word I'm looking for? Objections. So when you've given an objection, it's like they bring it back to them, ask the question. Well, like, it's one of them was, well, that's looks, feels like a pyramid scheme thing to me. And it's like, I never really knew how to respond to that. And she's like, well, it's like, well, what exactly is that? Put that back on them, what is that? And then kind of agree with them at the same time, say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. And yeah, that's not a good thing, but you don't have to worry about that here, kind of thing. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah. So it was a good, it's still, we have homework to do, and, making up my own script, basically, asking them questions about themselves, and then bringing it, then tell them about you, which I really wasn't really doing, introducing myself, and then just kind of lay out the whole way the whole call is going to go, and then ask for permission to move forward. And then there's actually 9 steps that she does that really, it was very interesting. Yeah. So,
well, great. So question for you, Linda, would you like to host a special event here where you kind of look, the best way to learn stuff is to learn it as if you had to teach it.
I know. You're right, John. You're right. I'm not going to say no, but I'm not ready for that, but in the future. Yeah, sure.
You think you'll be ready at some point? I'm still waiting to be ready. I've done so much.
Missy says I am.
You're ready. She already did it. Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Put her on the calendar.
She's overwhelmed with stuff that I have to do right now. So
okay.
Just dance for 5 minutes. You could do it.
All right. We don't want you to be overwhelmed. We want not underwhelmed either. We want the correct amount. The correct amount of whelm. So when you have the correct amount of whelm, you let me know. We'll get it on the calendar. All right.
All right, John. I gotta clear my calendar. Let's put that.
Okay, you do that. You do that. Look, how did I get to where I'm at?
As a matter of fact, I have a meeting.
I up all this stuff from guys like Bob, right?
Yes.
And from reading countless books. And then I just started running my mouth, and people were like, "Oh, holy crap, that's some really good stuff." I was like, "Yeah, it's good stuff." Yeah. And the next thing you know,
well, like Napoleon Hill says, you have to acquire specialized knowledge. So, this next book that we're going to be reading in book study is about sales, and so that's just going to elevate our confidence. And actually, I'm reading. Where is it? In the other room. I am reading a sales book. Missy, the name of.
Silva.
Yes, Silva. Yeah, his method. So Jose Silva, have you ever heard of him, John?
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah. Have you read his books?
No.
Well, he does bring it. I mean, it's all the same stuff, really. It's just written in a different way, and there's some good stuff in there to take away. But yeah, I mean, you just have to I mean, sales, I really am. I feel like I really enjoy it, and you get to meet a lot of interesting people,
Yeah.
and so I just got to get better at it. That's all. And by doing it, the only way I can do that is to do it.
Linda, you are getting better at it because your name came up today. You don't even know that, did you?
Oh, okay.
Your name came up today as like rising star people who we know, and you
Okay.
are one of them. That's
Oh,
right.
cool. All right.
And
Well,
the
I
other
have to
one
go.
who's got her hand up right now.
I have to go. I have a meeting.
All right, go sell something. Hi, Missy.
Hi. Linda is, yes. Linda's doing terrific and she's just still a little hard on herself, but she's coming out of her little tortoise shell and she's flying from this stuff. She's flying, but she doesn't want to admit it. So just force her on the calendar. She'll be fine. She can do it without even a piece of paper. So don't listen to her. But I don't know if you realize how many times you said the word crap today, but I'm going to start keeping count. This is like a poop day. So on that, I'm going to talk about my own personal poop. So when I started school, it made me nervous because you had to do everything right. And that made me, I didn't know my post. So that turned into a habit of trying to do everything perfectly. And then that atomic habit became a way of life until Bob tried to tell me, I got to give my husband credit. He tried. He says, you can't, be everything to everyone. You can't do everything all at once, then you do nothing. And that's what happened. And I thought my post was Save America. But I just couldn't figure out how. I'm like, well, wait, I'm not Patton. I'm not George Washington. So that's why I'm doing this one little itsy bitsy thing called Melaleuca to try to get people to take market share away. And it's not 43 years in the Navy like my father, but it's some little thing I could do. Because if I went to the White House and tried to pull somebody out, I would just be in jail, or dead. So that I learned that I have to understand from you that I must understand what my post is. And my circle of concern was my whole life. And that's probably what ran down my body too, helped run it down because I couldn't do anything about that outside because I had no post there. And it feels much better and much more positive to have something to do and every little win you get, it just feels like, okay, we're doing it. We're making a little difference. And then as I'm growing and meeting all these people, these wonderful people that are doing the same thing, that's how I'm growing. So for people who are listening to this on YouTube, don't even know what we're talking about. If you don't grow your circle of influence, you can't do anything about that circle of concern, which is very important for the world, but you can't do it from the outside. It's got to be done by these steps. And I'm just sorry it took me all these years to correct that, but I'm making the course correction and I'm making progress and I'm doing it. That's it.
I love you, Missy. And yes, you are doing it. You are, right? So there's nothing, unhumble about recognizing that you're doing it, because I recognize it too. And what we acknowledge, we get more of that, right? So keep acknowledging yourself. Well done. Missy, everybody, another rising star in the world. Yeah. And you probably have a bigger effect than you know. In fact, there was a quote from someone who said, oh crap, who was this quote? I just said crap again. The quote was from somebody, and that somebody said that what we fear is not our weakness, we fear our greatness. Because then with that, now I'm responsible. Now I'm cause, right? So, and I'm paraphrasing. Anyway, Missy, you've had an impact on a lot of people, probably more than you know. All right, let's see here. We got Allie and Catherine and Daisy Edwards here, Giovanna, Janet, Karen. Hey, Karen, Lindsay, Mandy. Any other thoughts you guys would like to share on this, on getting out of our own way, getting focused, taking action, and getting a result? No? Okay. Then we'll go ahead and wrap up. I don't see any hands. I don't see any hot microphones. I will see you all back here tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for more thrills. Giovanna.
What chapters for the book study?
Oh, hold on. Let me pull that up here real quick. Which chapters is it? That we just read. You'd think I would know this, right? We got a lot of people that have jumped ahead because we said we were going to rip through this book in 2 weeks, but we just got so much content out of it that we're like,
We got off the first page.
yeah.
It's the fourth, can't
Yeah.
read
So
my
we
book.
read introduction, energy, economy, and integrity. Now we're on to the next two, system and
Okay.
what's the other one? Crap.
Economy, no.
No, system.
I'll read.
And yeah, anyway, so chapter
Got
1,
it.
2, 3, 4, chapters 5 and 6. 5 and 6.
Okay.
Okay. You got it. I will seize you there. Giovanna, I'm going to call you as soon as we're done here. Guys, have an awesome day. You totally deserve it. And I will see you all back